Chapter 2. We continue as we see the teacher look at student A and say that she wanted to kill him. As she says this, the students figure out that the student A is Shuya Watanabe. They text this info to the other students. The teacher looks at him with hate in her eyes as she says that's truly how she felt towards him, the boy who killed Manami. As the teacher says this, Shuya doesn't have any reaction. The teacher continues and says that there was one other culprit. This is what she found about student B from his family. Student B used to be part of the sports club when he entered school, but he felt dissatisfied since he wasn't even allowed to hold a racket. We see the student B writing "die" over and over on his room walls as his mother talks on the phone. Now we see student B in an arcade playing some games. Some other students come to him to bully him, but he runs away from there and ends up at a police station where the police officer offers him help. As the student waits inside the police station, we see someone apologizing to the officer. We see that it's a teacher. Student B asks the teacher, "Why isn't Ms. Moriguchi the one to pick him up?" The male teacher smacks him and tells him to shut up as he calls him an idiot. Student B grips his bag in anger and does nothing. Moriguchi explains that because student B broke the school's rules that forbid students to go to game centers. As a punishment, he was put on duty to clean the pool and gym room for 2 weeks. As Moriguchi says this, the students pick up on who the student B might be and get shocked as they never thought that he had the guts to do something like this. As the student B sits there shaking in fear, he remembers the past. He recalls all the students going to club practice while he couldn't. He scribbles "die" in his book over and over again in anger. Shuya sees this and smiles. Now we see student B and Shuya watching an idol group perform as they're in Shuya's room. Shuya tells him that he also has the idol group's live CD from last year and asks him if he would like to borrow it. Hearing this makes student B happy as he tells him to please lend it to him. Shuya lays down on his bed as he smiles and looks at something. As Shuya is wondering something, student B looks at him and says, "That's the thing that you won that prize with, right?" Shuya replies and says that he increased the power of it and he wants to try it on someone. Student B suggests the name of the teacher who beat him at the police station. Shuya doesn't react to that name. Student B tells Moriguchi's name. He continues and says that even when one of her own students is in trouble, she just asks another teacher to look into it. Shuya replies and says that he already tried it on Moriguchi. Suddenly, student B recalls seeing someone while he cleaned the pool. He suggests Moriguchi's daughter, Manami's name. With excitement in his face, he says that they should show Moriguchi what happens when she prioritizes her own kid over her students. Now we see Shuya smile as he gives Manami the purse and says, "This is the thing your mommy wouldn't buy you, isn't it? Or did she buy it for you after all?" Shuya smiles and gives it to Manami. Now we see Moriguchi say that student B knew that Manami always fed Muku, and he also knew about the pochette that she wouldn't buy for her. As she says this, the entire class looks at a student. The students take pictures of him to send to their other friends. They now know that the student B is Naoki Shimomura. We see Naoki scared as he sweats. Moriguchi looks sad as she says that the person they chose as their target, so small and defenseless, her daughter. We see Shuya giving the purse to Manami as he tells her that her mommy asked him to go buy this for her. He puts it around her neck and tells her that it's a present from her wonderful mommy. Receiving the purse makes Manami really happy. Shuya tells Manami to open it up as there's chocolate inside. Manami believes him and hurries to open it. Shuya and Naoki look at her with anticipation. Suddenly, we hear an electric shock and see Manami laying on the ground. Naoki gets worried and asks Shuya what did he do to her cause she's not moving. Shuya tells him that Manami is dead. Hearing this shocks him. Shuya tells Naoki to tell everyone that he's the one who did it. Hearing this confuses him. Shuya walks away with a smile on his face. Naoki looks at Manami's body and gets scared as he starts crying in fear. He takes the purse as he thinks that if people find out that the pochette killed her, he will become the main suspect. He takes the purse and throws it towards Muku. We see the moment when Moriguchi confronts Shuya. We see him looking annoyed as he says, "And that after it was so successful." He calls Naoki an idiot because he took Manami's body and threw it into the pool as he cries and says sorry. We see Naoki apologizing to Moriguchi as Naoki's mother comforts him. Moriguchi tells the class that this is the truth about Manami's death. She already said so. If the police declared it as an accident, she won't make a case out of it. But realizing that it wasn't the pochette that killed her, a shock from a little device like that can't kill a 4-year-old girl. She was merely unconscious. She drowned after student B threw her in the pool. That was the true cause of her death. Moriguchi looks sad as she says, "Isn't it ironic? Student A, who had the intent to kill, wasn't the one that did it. And student B, who didn't have any intent to kill, ended up killing her." Even if she took this to court, they will always be protected by the juvenile law, and the worst punishment they can get is to be under probation. She judged that to be insufficient. It is the duty of a teacher to put stray students back on the right path. She wants these two students to recognize their sins and to realize the preciousness of life. She wants them to understand the graveness of what they did and to live their life under the loads of its heaviness. As she says this, we see an image of someone injecting something into the milk cartons. She turns to the board as she says that the milk they just drank, the milk of the two culprits, she infused the HIV-contaminated blood of Masayoshi Sakuranomiya. Hearing this puts the entire class in panic. Everyone starts screaming. Shuya and Naoki realize that they are fucked. Moriguchi screams and tells the class to be quiet. Everyone goes silent. Moriguchi smiles and says that she wants to thank both of the students for drinking up their milk to the bottom. She would certainly advise both of them to get their blood examined. The disease only becomes active after 5 to 10 years, so they'll have plenty of time to ponder over the terrible crime they've committed. Shuya and Naoki fall off their seat, and they still can't believe this. Moriguchi wipes the blackboard and tells them that spring is the season where life blooms at its best. Flowers, trees, grasses, birds, and human beings. She wishes everyone a truly meaningful spring break. As she says this, she smiles at the class. She finishes the class and goes. Now we see a student named Mizuki asking herself if what Moriguchi said was really true. She looks at the class and thinks that this class is heading into a new semester. She can't believe how everyone can be smiling like that. As she's thinking this, a new teacher greets them and says that it's time to take attendance. Mizuki explains that this is their new homeroom teacher. They advanced to 2nd grade, but remained as the same group. This guy, trying to act all familiar from the very start. The first day he came, he told the students to call him Werther, which is also the name of the main character of an opera called The Sorrows of Young Werther. He laughs as he tells them that just because he's called Werther doesn't mean that he's such a troubled guy. Mizuki hears this and thinks that he tells one bad joke after another. She hates him already. Werther takes the attendance and sees that Naoki seems to be still at home with a cold. As we see Naoki's table, we see that it's been vandalized. Mizuki thinks that everyone knows that Naoki doesn't have a cold. What surprised them the most of all was that Shuya was just coming to school as if nothing had happened. Everyone is probably just scared. They all just want to run from the truth that Ms. Moriguchi told them about, and that's why they all turned into a bunch of idiots. In the month of May, we see Werther bowing down and apologizing to everyone. He tells the class that he's been lying about the reason why Naoki has been absent all the time. He doesn't have a cold. But it's not that Naoki is skipping school. He can't come to school because of a heart disease. As he says this, we see the class group get a text saying that anyone who reveals Moriguchi's secret will be considered student C. Someone suggests that they should make it easier for Naoki to come back to school. For example, if they all copy their notes, one person at a time. The student says that him and Mizuki, who are the class reps, can deliver those notes to him. The student asks Mizuki, what does she think about this? She agrees with him. Werther agrees with this idea too. He asks Mizuki if she has some kind of nickname. Someone from the back screams and says, Mizuho. Werther agrees and says that they should call her Mizuho from now on. The other students giggle and scream Mizuho multiple times. Now we see that they call her Mizuho because it means stupid Mizuki. At Naoki's house, we see Mizuki and the teacher. Naoki's mom sees Mizuki and tells her that it's been a while. As they sit down to talk, Naoki's mom starts saying that if last year's teacher would have had as much devotion as Werther does, maybe it wouldn't have turned out this way. Last year's teacher was so absorbed by her own kid that she didn't care a single bit about her students. Naoki could succeed at anything if he wanted to. As she says this, she recalls trying to talk to him, but he screams and tells her to not go saying stuff without being asked. She knocks on his door to call him out. He comes out looking like a corpse. As she tries to call his name, he throws a book at her and goes down the stairs. As she looks worried about him, she suddenly hears him throw up. Hearing this worries her. As she goes to check up on him, she sees him throwing up in the toilet while he says, "It's not there." He tells his mom to stay back, With tears and fear in his eyes, he says, "Don't you dare touch me." Now back in the school, we see Shuya's books vandalized. As he's picking up his book, someone throws a carton of milk at him. We see that it's the kid who was getting bullied before. He asks Shuya if he doesn't regret what he did at all. The kid laughs as he asks this. The other students laugh with him while Mizuki is worried. The class starts talking about something called punishment points. Now we see Werther tell everyone that they should send a message to cheer up Naoki. Mizuki replies and says, "Mr. Tara, don't you think this will make Naoki feel even more cornered?" Werther replies and tells her if she can't see this critical moment, if they get over this first bump now, it'll all work out. In Naoki's house, we see a broken glass window. As the mom cries and says that her Naoki is a poor boy, she picks up some food from the ground. She cries as she says that he used to be so kind. It's just that he got deceived. She tells herself that Naoki isn't a bad boy as she picks up the food from the road which Naoki threw from his window. In the month of June, we see that someone wrote a letter to Werther saying that there's a case of bullying going on in this class. The name of the boy who's getting bullied is Shuya Watanabe. Mr. Werther looks angry as he tells the class that this is not a case of bullying, but just some childish harassment. They don't have to feel inferior towards Shuya just because he is getting good grades. Mizuki replies and says that she doesn't think that's the reason. After class, we see a girl tell Mizuki that she must be the one who wrote that note. Everyone starts cornering her as she looks scared. The girl tells Mizuki that she hasn't earned any punishment points yet, so that's easy to conclude. She suddenly pulls Mizuki's hair and screams at her that she's taking the side of a murderer. She asks her if she doesn't feel bad for Ms. Moriguchi. We see Shuya tied up in a corner. They pull Mizuki and push her on the ground. They grab her head and push her face towards Shuya and make her kiss him on the lips. As they kiss, the entire class takes their photos. As this happens, Mizuki thinks to herself, "Teacher, this group is getting out of hand." Now we see Naoki in his room. He looks like a completely new person as he looks at the rain. He opens the window to feel the rain on his skin. As he's doing this, we see his mom in the kitchen looking worried. She looks at the message which Naoki got from his classmates. The mom notices something and goes closer to it. As she sees it, she realizes that the first letter of every line spells, "Die murderer." At the same time, we see Naoki's hand covered in blood. While this is happening in Naoki's house, we see Mizuki meeting up with Shuya under a bridge. Shuya gives her a letter and tells her to see for herself. She sees that the letter contains blood examination results. His blood report results are negative. Seeing this makes her happy. With joy and relief in her voice, she says that he's okay and she always knew it. She wipes her tears and says that it's so weird that everyone just believed that. She smiles as she says that Miss Moriguchi only said that to make him think about what he did. Shuya looks at her and asks, "Are you not afraid of me?" She shakes her head. He looks at her and says, "Even though I'm student A?" She smiles and holds his hands as she says, "No, I'm not." Now, we see Naoki looking dead as he enters a store. Back at school, we see all the girls looking at Mizuki and Shuya's kissing photo. They laugh and say that this is to celebrate Mizuho's first kiss. Suddenly, we see Shuya cutting his finger with a blade. As a guy is teasing Mizuki for the kiss, Shuya walks towards him. The guy sees Shuya and asks, "What's wrong, student A?" Shuya suddenly puts the wounded hand on the guy's face and smears blood onto him. While this happens, we see Naoki running his hands along the store produce. Back at school, the student screams as he sees Shuya's blood on his face. Shuya throws his blood onto the girls also. He throws the blood onto the kids with glasses too. The entire class stays away from him in fear of getting the virus. As he says, "Is this punishment?" he looks at a student. The student backs into a wall as he hears Shuya say, "Let me show you a real punishment." Shuya grabs the student's collar and kisses him. He looks at the student in the eyes and tells him that if he does something foolish like that ever again, he'll thrust his tongue inside next time. In the store, we see Naoki running his wounded hand onto the produce and marking them all with his blood. And this is how this chapter ends. Hope you all enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you,